Being Brief. This is where we briefly give you the highlights of our industry over the last week, and let's dive right in. We're going to start this week with a little bit of an RIP message. A legacy to the world of denim has just passed away. Adriana Goldschmied,
Yeah,
Godfather
AG
denim. Yep.
passed away at 82 years old. Um, I mean, he really was one of the leading founders of the premium denim movement. You know, you see AG pretty ubiquitous in that space. It's just an amazing brand.
Well, he's
Our
really
hearts.
noted to really be the one that developed the concept of premium denim.
Yeah.
Which now, in this age of people being more intentional about their purchases, buying better quality, this legacy that he's developed really really fits in with this movement very well. The other thing I love about his contribution is that legacy of innovation and entrepreneurship. He really impacted the world of design in this space, and really showed that a business can be very impactful in this particular specialty.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers go out to the family.
Absolutely. A brand that is seeing a surprising spike, Calvin Klein. They are on the rise right now. What is happening here, Brett?
Well, there's FX launched a new short mini series called Love Story, and it's the story of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. It's wild. Every time there's a Kennedy involved in a story, boy, things launch. In fact, there's already been 25 million viewing hours for streaming for FX's Love Story. It's broken all records for a miniseries on FX. Online searches to get more information about this tragic love story. I mean, it was kind of an amazing love story between the two of them. They died in a tragic plane accident that was piloted by JFK Jr. on his way, I think, out to Cape Cod. But online searches are up like 90 to 100%. I've never seen a number like that.
Wow.
And, you know, Carolyn worked for Calvin Klein in the 90s.
I see the connection.
And there was an entire board making sure that the stuff was fashion right that was on the show. And this whole viewership, Hollywood, whatever, translating to fashion is a story that's repeated as long as I've been in the business.
Right.
And we see that it's still continuing, and it's pushing the whole 90s aesthetic forward. We've seen our move from 70s aesthetic or 60s, then 70s, then 80s, you know, fashion cyclical. And so it seems like there's this big awareness, and Calvin Klein, the brand, seems to be experiencing some benefits from the show.
You know, that's so interesting. One of our dear friends in the industry, Sharon Grobard with SG Files, often talks about how important it is to keep an eye on pop culture to see how it's going to impact trend. And I imagine we're going to start seeing some shifts just based on the sheer success of this love story.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Tariffs again.
We're going to go back to the evil T word.
Yeah.
So there's of course an update. As I anticipate, there'll be ongoing updates in this category of conversation. The U.S. tariff refund is the portal is facing some delays, excluding 1/3 of its imports. Can you give us a little insight on what's happening here?
Yeah. So the conversation originally was that we were going to utilize an existing portal that we have for imports and paying duties. And now there's a conversation, this new US government portal will be built to handle the majority of tariff refunds. Like you mentioned, around 63%, about 53 million import entries during the time that tariffs, this first phase of tariffs, I don't think they're going to go away, but the IEEPA tariffs were put in place. There is this kind of legal clause about liquidated or finalized tariffs and imports. They're kind of in a process. That's that final third phase that they're working through. I think that at least the current prevailing conversation is that all tariffs in time will be refunded, but we shall see.
Yeah.
It's about $166 billion in tariffs that were created. I think that creates a lot of significant financial pressure. There's
Mhm.
tens of thousands of importers that are already registered to claim refunds. And so I think processing is going to take time. I think the system's going to be pretty overwhelmed.
We have a fantastic podcast that just released this week on our longer format Clothing Culture podcast. And we speak with an expert in DC that, Hillary Jockmans is an plays the role of advocacy for the fashion industry. Tariffs is a big part of our conversation, and so if you're interested in learning a little bit more about some of the legal side of this conversation, you should check that podcast out. And of course, at Stars Design Group, we're happy to help you navigate this crazy space as well. As far as the innovation side of conversations, we always like to make sure that we are keeping apprised in what's happening out there in the world of tech, and AI is one of those categories that we know we're going to keep circling around quite a bit. We have a little spotlight on AI with regards to try-ons.
Yeah, there's a bunch of startups that have come to continue to try to tackle retail's number one silent killer. We've talked about this a number of times: returns and exchanges. They kill profitability. About 15 to 20% of all purchases are returned or exchanged. And when that happens, profitability in the item goes away. So much so that people that aren't really focusing on addressing this issue are saying that sometimes their online business isn't profitable at all.
Right.
It's a pretty serious conversation. And so, of course, as AI blows up and people see challenges, there's this whole goal for this new technology to help reduce the amount of returns and exchanges. Some of that is making sure that you get the right fit to begin with. And so
Right.
there's this whole conversation about digital twins, virtual try-on, and a lot of that's occurring. Companies like Shopify and Google are trying to integrate this virtual try-on. And they're seeing higher conversion rates, stronger customer engagement. I think we have a long way to go, but there is a lot of these different technologies that will help reduce that. And hopefully we'll start to see some benefit as the online business, which is now about 15% of all retail, grows.
We had a couple of really good conversations in this. If you're interested in a deeper dive here in this particular space, we had a great conversation with Whitney Cathcart. I think that was season 2, about a technology that she's developed incorporating AI. This is now several years into using this technology. And we also have a magazine in our latest drop that we have several articles in this area, so you can download that for free on our website. Last story of the day.
Goliath Nike.
The Goliath Nike, right. Investors are saying that they're having a bit of an identity crisis at the moment.
Yeah, we've talked in previous episodes about the hot space that's occurring right now is this kind of better space. And Nike's kind of stuck in the middle. It's this unclear middle ground. They lack the premium appeal that some of these new brands are experiencing, or higher end, not really the haute couture, the luxury, but this kind of better market that we've been talking about. And they lack the price advantage of kind of smaller, more discount places. And Nike's seeing a lot of weak performance. Other opportunities for brands that are out there have risen, and Lululemon is one of those. They're seeing strong growth, specifically in China, due to localization, localized marketing, community building like yoga, and that the brand is a little bit more premium positioned. Lululemon has been under fire from its ex-CEO for lacking vision and lacking quality and all of that. but I would tell you that
They're killing it from a
they're
marketing
killing it
standpoint.
from a
Yeah.
marketing standpoint, and in China specifically, it's
Yeah.
looking pretty good. Other brands under the Tapestry label, like Coach, are
Mhm.
seeing consumers that are trading. You know, we've talked about the volatility that's going on in the ultra luxury space,
Yeah.
and consumers are trading down. They're looking at these better markets,
Mhm.
still somewhat aspirational, more affordable, and Coach is seeing benefits there for
That's
sure.
true. I'm seeing a lot more Coach products out in the market now. So and they've always been known for quality. Another great brand that falls under Tapestry is, of course,
Stuart
Stuart
Weitzman, yeah,
Weitzman.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it for a shoe business. That's a perfectly positioned market also.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see some good things. Tapestry has gone through a little bit of challenge in the past, but I think we're going to see some good benefit there. I think this is kind of a broader warning for kind of these big Western brands that are kind of mass market. I think the business is evolving. People are thinking, even with that subtle hint in the back of their minds about sustainability and things filling landfills and fast fashion being kind of a negative conversation today. People are looking, hey, if I spend a little bit more money, I trend toward things that are maybe a little longer lasting with respect to fashion, then things will be better from a sustainability standpoint. My garments will look better for a longer period of time. And so brands that are focused in that space are ones to really be on the lookout for.
That's great advice. Well, thank you for joining us this week on Clothing Brief. We will be here, same time, same place next week to keep you up to date on what is happening in our industry. Do not forget to subscribe to stay apprised of upcoming conversations.